Hello, welcome to Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. We're on our first review for Fantasy Month. Today we're reviewing Claw the Unconquered by Chuck Dixon and Annie Smith. One of the reasons why I wanted to review this book, because apparently Chuck Dixon is a conservative comic writer, and that's pretty rare nowadays. Especially since you have the whole SJWs infiltrating the comic book industry and bringing it down inside out, like they're going to do with the manga industry sooner or later. So we have that to look forward to. Yeah. So what did I think about the book? Well, let me not get ahead of myself. Claw the Unconquered, I guess, was a relaunch of an old DC Comics character that's basically kind of a rip-off of Conan the Barbarian, but instead he has what makes him different than Conan the Barbarian, he has this demonic hand, kind of like Hell Teacher Mube, if you ever watched that anime or manga. One critique is even though this is called Claw the Unconquered, there's no numbers, so we're basically assume this is the first story, right, of the relaunched character. No, he was first introduced. I'm not talking about the '80s one, but the revamped first was introduced in a Red Sonja Claw Devil's Hand crossover, which is weird because doesn't Dynamite own Red Sonja? I don't know. Maybe they made a deal with Dynamite. Who knows? And you got a two-page recap of what happened in that book, where basically Claw meets up with Red Sonja. They go to see a wizard. The wizard is also marked with the same with the same evil god that gave our boy Claw his devil hand. His real name is called Valken. His real name is Valken Scaramax, just so you know. And after, it turns out the sorcerer was evil, so they had to kill the sorcerer. And then Red Sonja gives him the bright idea of, if you just want to free yourself of the devil's hand, why not just cut it off and burn it, right? And he does, and guess what? It grew back. So the book starts off with our boy Vulcan, aka Claw, is working as a mercenary. He's no longer wearing a barbarian's attire. He has pants and boots now. He has a little tiny cape. Still refuses to wear a shirt though. Yeah, you see him working with knights that they're wearing either scale mail or chain mail and other steel age equipment, which I thought was weird at first, but then just because he's a barbarian doesn't mean just because he's living his part of the world, they were living the Bronze Age, doesn't mean other countries weren't living in the Steel Age at the same time, right? Kind of like how you still have people in today. We have phones and computers and shit, but there's still parts of the world where people are in the jungle and they see a plane in the sky and they think it's some kind of metal god or something, right? Which I saw footage of some helicopter flying over the Amazon, and you see the natives trying to bring it down with fucking arrows and shit. You see close up, and the camera guy in the fucking helicopter did a close up on their faces, and they were fucking scared shit. It was super funny, but it's kind of fucked up at the same time. It's so weird that you still have people out there like that. So basically what happens after the battle, he gets there's an astral projection of this half naked, well, pretty much mostly naked sorceress, who you see her in real life and she's not as good looking. She's supposed to be aged, but the artist didn't really draw her to look old. But whatever, right? So she shows up she tells him, go to the gates of sorrow, free the old gods, and then the old gods being basically devils and shit. Actually, they're called the Ancient Shades. My bad. They're basically the elder gods from H.P. Lovecraft. Go there and set them free, and then we'll make you whole again, right? Or you can be, I'll be Empress, and then you can be my Lord Protector, right? So basically, she wants to set up a monarchy using like the ancient gods as like the workhorse for her empire or whatever the fuck. So he decides, oh, I'll do it if you get rid of my claw. And he goes to the gates of sorrow, meets he's also given 3 companions who are turn out to be werewolves, and at the same time a monk or something, like a monk character, like some kind of like, you know, priest character, goes crazy, claws his eyes out, and is basically tells his brothers, hey, the prophecy is here, the Dark One is heading to the gates of sorrow to release the Ancient Shades. So you have our knight characters travel to the gates of sorrow. Our knight characters, who is Bishop Navarra and his squire Donnet, what was his name? Dogue? I don't even know how to pronounce that guy's name. They're heading to the gates of sorrow as well. Turns out Claw's severed arm that he burned survived the fire and has been killing animals and regrew itself and he turns into an evil version of Claw, right? So basically what happens, you have these 2 parties heading to the gates of sorrow, right? Heading to the gates of sorrow, converge, and there's a battle, right? And then all hell breaks loose. So I thought the story at first, for a fantasy book, there was some, like, you know, some leftist shit that I didn't really like. You have like evil beings fighting the knights and talking down to them, saying you and your like privilege and you are nothing without your titles and privilege, right? So I'm thinking, oh my god, is this classist bullshit, or like, I don't know, it just screamed of leftist bullshit to me. And knights are knights because not only are they like responsible for the like, yeah, they have a lot of power and bullshit, right? But they're also knights because they're the ones who are entrusted to defending the realms, right? They're the people on the ground fighting, invading armies and taking down bandits, shit like that, protecting the realm, right? So of course they're gonna have some privileges, or otherwise that's why communism doesn't work. Yeah, the people who do shit have to have like privileges, or otherwise what's the point of having all that responsibility, right? But then I also don't like the opposite of communism, which is that Ayn Rand bullshit from Atlas Shrugged, which just seems to me, it just seems like it's communism, but instead of the workers being at the top, it's the elites being at the top, which is pretty much what we have today. So it's like, yeah, I don't really like that either. I don't know. I'm just a Christian conservative. I just want I want the middle ground, okay? I'm not a centrist, okay? But I'm saying we should have, you know, a more balanced leadership. Like, I would say, like, I would like, you know, basically Starship Troopers. If we made everything like Starship Troopers, I think the world would be a better place. And I'm not talking about Sargon's interpretation of Starship Troopers. Sargon is a fucking retard. The guy's 40 years old, hasn't read a political book, right? Didn't go to college, and thinks, actually he quit college and thought he could join the party and become like a political leader or whatever. It's like, what a fucking retard. But I'll say this: despite the political, besides from the leftist shit in the book, I thought the art was really great. I thought the action was good. The Claw character seems pretty base. He was kind of an idiot though for trusting like the forces of evil and all that shit. But you know, he is a uneducated barbarian, right? And he did suspect like from the beginning, hey, some shit is up here, right? But yeah, like the art is really good. You got some cool covers from Ethan Van Sciver, which great. He's a great artist. I'll give him that. Okay, that's. He seems like a grifter nowadays, but he's a good artist. I'll leave him at that. And he also, some guy named Moose Ballman also helped with the cover art. So I thought the writing was okay. I really loved the ending for this book, which I kind of spoiled. But yeah, it makes you wonder, like, holy shit, what happens next? But I would have to Google to see if there was a next. From the Google searches, Bing searches that I was doing, it doesn't seem like there was a sequel to this book. But I don't know. I'll look up and see if there is. If I were to give this a rating, it was looking like it was going to get 7. But I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. I did especially enjoy the fact that you have these female warriors in the book, and then they get you know, they get they get blown the fuck out just as easily as the male warriors, which would happen in real life. Actually, yeah. Yeah. So that's basically all I have to say about this book. I did think it's a little overpriced because it's like $22 Canadian for like a 6-issue book. But then again, that's kind of normal nowadays. But that wasn't exactly normal in 2007. But oh well, that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna review either Solomon King or not Solomon King the book, the fantasy book, but Solomon King the movie, or Hawk the Slayer. I haven't decided yet, but you'll know when the video comes out. Alright, peace.